despite several attempts including an intervention by President Bola Tinubu, political impasse in Ondo State remains intractable. In the face of this, the convener of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, Edwin Clark, has told President Bola Tinubu to invoke the Doctrine of Necessity to resolve the impasse. In a letter to the president, the elder statesman commended him for intervening in the situation, but added that there is need to act fast as the crisis is causing more tension rather than abating.
Anyway, I was saying that I don't want to comment on the political side of this, because of the different dynamics playing the state. But the elder statesman is saying the obvious, especially with the different revelation coming out of the state. Unfortunately, I think Haketi, for a person, his legacy, what it stands for over time, he would also advocate for the same thing. I mean, the same thing that President Clark is doing today. In 2009, 10 during the Yaradua debacle, the time of his own health issue too, he spoke out. Then he was the NBA president, and he spoke out vehemently in favor of Jonathan, being sworn in as the acting president in the absence of Mosi Yaradua around in the country. So I think he also told the same part. If he had been here on his seat today. However, I'm very careful in approaching this. Why? I'm a living example here. When I was sick, I was down from 97 kg to maybe 63 or thereabout. They say in my own language that entition go back to like in Bayon Bolukoso. So I'm very careful, knowing well that I passed through a stage, and God brought me back here. So I'm also hoping that it comes back. However, the state cannot suffer, endlessly in his absence. While we are praying, it is my prayer that the man will come back in good time. Why? He needs to see the kind of rot, being perpetuated in his name, in his absence, by his most trusted hands. However, before he comes back, which I'm praying for as a person, it will validate a lot of things that we have done recently. I think the state needs to enjoy dividends of democracy, and there's no way that will happen except you have a chairman of council in place. See, there are some things that can't be signed except by the chairman of council or not even the vice chairman.
But they've been talking about the forgery of signature.
Let's know. Okay, you want us to discuss that?
We discussed it yesterday. It was on the show yesterday. We were talking
yes,
about
we were part of that process. It was a messy thing. It didn't start today, and it started. See, there are some signatures dated back September that are forged. They went through forensic examination and they failed woefully. And I've listened to some actors saying that, only the governor can confirm that his signature is forged. Who is saying that? When we know obviously, yes, he has been signing over time.
Do you know what the signature looks like?
Yes.
Everybody can confirm.
Yes. Do you know how many of them will pass through the examination process? Do you know how many of them? And a lot of them failed. We traced it as far back as September. And if this is happening, one thing is simple. That means the governor is not able to sign, or they are doing this thing behind him, hoping that he will not find out. But as far as now is concerned, the state of health of the governor is not what I want to talk about, but it's not, very fit.
Do we need a doctrine of necessity for the acting governor, for the deputy governor to become acting governor? I thought this has been sorted constitutionally.
I'm looking at the constitution now. 2010, the amendment number 1. It says that in the event that the governor is unable or fails to, let me go up. In this section, the reference to the Executive Council of the state is a reference to the body of commissioners of the government of the state, howsoever called, established by the governor and charged with such responsibilities for the functions of government as governor may direct, And then under, it says, acting governor during temporary absence of governor. Whenever the governor is proceeding on vacation or is otherwise unable to discharge the functions of his office, he shall transmit a written declaration to the Speaker of the House of Assembly to that effect. And until he transmits to the Speaker of the House of Assembly a written declaration to the contrary, the deputy governor shall perform the functions of the governor as acting governor.
Yep.
So
A letter is required.
the governor, when traveling
Yeah.
for
Yes.
medical checkup,
Yes.
is supposed to, and is unable to function as governor, is supposed to do a letter to the House
House of Assembly.
to state for the deputy governor to take over. The Constitution
Which
says
is it?
that,
When he was going to Germany.
the Constitution now says that until he transmits a letter to the contrary, the deputy governor shall continue to function as the governor of the state. So there are things that should have been done that have not been done.
I think Akiti transmitted a letter.
So, let
when
me-
he came back to Oyo State.
Yeah.
He transmitted another letter.
Yes,
That's
let me
back.
explain this. At the Fox time also, he was not in circulation for quite for quite some time, even before traveling.
Before traveling.
It was
He had been ill since.
after some hue and cry, that eventually they said a letter had been transmitted. But unfortunately, this time around, that is not done. And even since he came back in September, he has not been to the state. And I'm sure that is not out of his own will. The Akete we know will want to come and do his job, but unfortunately he's not able to. And some even blame some actors around him for bringing him back, thinking that this man was not fit enough when they brought him back, that they only brought him back for their own selfish, for their own selfish political reasons, because they wanted to, do some few things that will confer, the advantage on them for the next election. See, the factors are quite many, but look at it. Interplay.
Let's, let's quickly go for another break.
Yeah.
Come back, Kolawole. Thank you for staying with us. This is Journalist Hangout, and we're reaching you from Lagos, Nigeria. Judy, I want to look at this crisis, and the more it's allowed to fester, the more it degenerates.
Well, I expect the president again to intervene, especially now with forgery being brought into the whole picture.
That's criminal.
I don't think that the commissioner will come out and shout in the open that the document that is sent to the governor and was returned to him through the office of the SSG, the signature there was forged. I don't think he will make that claim if he wasn't sure of his facts. So the EFCC has those documents now. The EFCC has been informed. So the EFCC has to do its job. And its job is to verify that indeed documents are being forged, approvals are being forged, because the governor is incapacitated, he is not in position to exercise his duties as a governor. And as a deputy governor, you don't want him to do the job. You just a lame duck deputy governor. That's the person who ordinarily should have been, if not because of the power, the greed for power that has typified this whole Ondo mess. The deputy will have been functioning.
APC as a party, I think they are complices from the national level to what is happening here.
Let me, thank God I'm here in my own name and not speaking for the organization.
They intervened. I blame the people in Ondo.
No.
Don't think.
Let me explain the dynamics at play. It is about the next election. It is about who succeeds Akeredolu. The deputy governor, of course, would naturally want to succeed his boss. There are other serving cabinet members who want to. Now, the serving cabinet members who are close to the governor, of course, are trying to manage the situation in order not to confer the advantage of that edge on the deputy governor. If he becomes the acting governor, is in place, what is able to do, to make appointment, to get things to himself, and maybe may win the primaries. Now, they are not even the most powerful in this game. You also have actors outside the government who are also political, forces, those unit of forces in the political interplay of the state. And these guys also, they also want to contest election to succeed Akeredolu. And they think also that, these guys inside who are preventing Lucky from being sworn in as the acting governor, it is what they are doing will also help them. So if these forces had come out to speak against and to work against those internal forces, they wouldn't have been able to hold on this long. But for selfish political reasons, the internal and the external forces are working to muzzle the guy to ensure that it doesn't so that it doesn't have the advantage. Now, when the president also intervened, I think he left the state in limbo much more than he met it. Now, if you said the guy should sign an understanding, an undertaking that he is not going to touch the ESCO, the cabinet members, that he won't dissolve, that he will not touch the leadership of the House of Assembly, and that he was not going to touch the party structure and leadership, on what basis? Can he do that as a deputy governor who is not having any power? The answer is no. He can only do that if he is sworn in. So I think in the context of him being sworn in, that was why they said, okay, you can be sworn in and act, but don't do this. But you ask yourself that what exactly is the president preventing? He has access to security reports. He knows the state of health of Aketi. He knows that the best thing to do at this point is to allow the law to take its place. I don't even want us to go through the doctrine of necessity because it will confer that edge on Lucky. Get Aketi somehow to transmit a letter to the House of Assembly so that you still confer that respect on Aketi that he transmitted power. If you leave it to be done through doctrine of necessity, the danger is that Lucky will get there, and of course, he didn't get there by any transmission. So that won't be good for the process. The president should have done this in the first instance and saved the state. Even when the actors went back to the state and they were implementing different things entirely, they should have also been called to order by the president. Now see this dimension. We talk about certificate forgery. Recently, the speaker said he got correspondence from the governor, to swear in some caretaker, members for local government. I am aware that there is no signature that came. There is no letter that came from Aketi for that process. So all of these things being done
our time is
after.
Julie, I will still hold the House of Assembly responsible for being at the center of this crisis.
Of course. And it's because the speaker too wants to benefit from the unfortunate situation. Yes.
It is politics.
He wants to be acting governor because of, like Friday Aderemi, many years back in Ekiti. He's already seen himself as somebody who could become acting governor. So he's playing his own game. And his colleagues, just the same way Aderemi was backed by his colleagues, his colleagues will want him to get there. That is what is happening. Ondo has become the pawn in the nasty political game that some political players are playing. This is what is happening. There is no need for this controversy. Somebody, didn't this person go to school? Erufai, and he transmitted power to his deputy. It was his deputy that presented the budget.
Just went to the House of Assembly.
The full complement of powers.
Acted as the governor throughout.
Yes. So what are we talking about? It's just these succession qualities that they are playing. Everyone thinks that, look, he's in the best position to succeed Aketi. And the man is ill. They are not praying for him to get well.
Honestly. In fact,
not praying for him to get well. It's a very indecent thing that they are doing.
See, Maestro, the things they are doing with his name right now, I wish the man would just come to see what the kind of crime they are committing with his name. With his name. Those, his most trusted hands. And you wonder, do they actually want the man to come back?
No, the EFCC.
Do they like him at all?
Thank you for your intervention, Kola.
No, you don't like a man and be doing what?
Of course, I agree.
My question is, did they even bring him back home to LA?
So many questions yet to be answered. And that's our offering today.